In this video, we will be going over Doyle Exchange's supply and demand strategy that turned me profitable at the age of 20 years old. We will look at my journey before joining Doyle's Discord, being unprofitable, and the overall switch that made things start to change. We will look at his strategy and how I refined it even more to fit me. Now, before I get at who am I? I am Chris, or the Secret Trader. I've been trading for almost 3 years now, with going through the ups and downs of the journey of trading. Started trading inside of high school, and now 3 years later, I'm starting to see the benefits and the reaps of all the work that I put in beforehand. I am mainly trading with Top Step, where I have my 2 funded accounts that I trade with each and every day inside of the markets. So I got introduced to the world of Forex first back in high school by a friend. This was back inside of 2022. Back then, trading was very different than it is now. There was a lot more Forex prop firms being promoted back and forth. The fact that you can make money from a simple click of a button is what enticed me into the entire world of trading. I could not believe the freedom that could be achieved by basically what seemed to be doing nothing. From then, I downloaded MT4 and TradingView, and I would literally look at the charts all day. I mean, I'm going on YouTube videos, researching. I'm just writing notes down of everything I saw. Back then, I really just wanted to make a couple of $100 a day. There was no like $1,000 days, 10,000. I just wanted enough money for freedom. I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted freedom. Back in those days too, there weren't really a lot legit people teaching trading, like looking back as well. But this brings us to our next point. After being introduced into the world of trading by my friend, I went through the cycle of doom that many beginner traders go through. I thought that trading would be easy based off of the lifestyle, based off what I saw on YouTube, but I was met with reality. The strategies that I saw on YouTube, this one right here was my first strategy, which was the alligator strategy. If anybody knows about the alligator strategy, comment down below, because this strategy was the first one that like actually made me money. I saw it on YouTube by some guy. I don't even know where his page is at anymore. I think this was actually the exact video that I clicked on actually when I looked up. I don't even know how I found this strategy, but the strategy was basically just you put 3 moving averages on a chart, and when they cross, you get in and then you hold the trade. I made money from this randomly. These YouTube strategies, not just the alligator strategy. I used to trade what it was called Renko blocks as well, or something like that. But I also lost a ton of money just trading this way. Every single week that I was studying, I would come back and I just wanted something that actually worked. Eventually though, after 3 months of doing this, going through the cycle of making money and losing tons of money, I eventually stumbled upon Doyle on YouTube. So after months of trial and error, I found out about Doyle's page. When I saw his page, I was like, bruh, this guy seems really genuine compared to everybody else inside of the space. He seems like somebody who's actually doing this inside of trading. This was literally one of the first videos that I saw by him, making $360 in under 30 minutes. And I was like, bruh, if I could just make this, because mind you, my goal back then was just like a couple of $100. Like, I was not wanting thousands or 10,000s. I thought that was so out there. I just wanted a couple of $100 a day, a couple of $100 a week, to know that this was just possible. And when I saw him, compared to where he's at right now, Like, he's making crazy money right now. When I first met Doyle, he was making like $300, $200, $100 days consistently. So he seemed like a real genuine guy. The way he talked, where he came from, I could relate to his story so much, even at my younger age. Especially then when looking at his story as well, working in a warehouse. I hadn't worked my warehouse job yet. We're going to get to that later. But seeing his come up, saving money, stacking it up, putting inside of his account while working, I was like, if this guy can do something like this, I can too. Learning supply and demand was the first big aha moment that I have ever had inside of trading. Before then, I was trading alligator strategies. I was trading Renko bar strategies. I was trading everything else. But learning pure price action without anything on the charts really started to change my mind and get me to start thinking in the right ways of a trader. When I finally bought his course and then joined his Discord room as well, what really amazed me was his consistency and also his discipline every single day inside of the market. I'm saying when he does not want to trade on Wednesday, he will never trade on a Wednesday. Some things he would just like never ever do. And me seeing that discipline every single day motivated me to become the best trader I can be. So my trading after joining Doyle's Discord and his course was basically what you can see right here. So this is my Forex Funds. If any of you guys remember my Forex Funds, this is my Forex Funds account. That I think this was my actual challenge account. I don't think this was the live account yet. I passed it back. As you can see the date, this is back in 2022. This is August 2022. This is when I actually passed it, and this was my winning streak after joining his Discord and applying supply and demand. I saw instant success. Even to this day, this is the most amount of wins that I've gotten in a row. I used to aim for a 1-to-1 risk to reward, just like he preached. Every day I would come into the markets, hit that 1-to-1, go on with my day. I passed that prop firm challenge for my Forex Funds in only a month of watching his course. I didn't even watch the course all the way through before taking the My Forex Funds challenge. Back then too, the challenges were different, where it was just 30 days for that challenge, and then if you didn't complete it in 30 days, basically they would take the account away from you. So I passed this inside of 30 days, getting, what was it? It was a lot of percentage. It was like 10%, I think. No, I think it was an 8% profit target in a matter of 30 days. Like, it was insane. But the only main problem that I had when I was trading Doyle supply and demand was my own mindset. My own mindset was the main thing that was holding me back. I could not take losses. I sucked at losing. Every time that I would take 1 or 2 losses, I would start revenge trading, which led to multiple blown accounts, bruh. I'm talking about from that My Forex Funds, like everything was good until I took 2 or 3 losses in a row. And my psychology, I tell you, it just took over. Looking back, I had to go through that to become the trader that I know I should have been. It's like every single trader has to go through that cycle where the strategy was working. Like, the strategy was working fine. But me, myself, my mindset, I was so greedy. I don't know what happened. I used to just want $100 a day. That turned into me wanting thousands, me wanting success fast, me chasing after it and not following the same process day in and day out. I blew the first funded account that I ever had, and I fell deeper and deeper and deeper into a cycle of unprofitability. This is my funded futures account. This was back sometime last year. where I had breached the account. So all the way through 2022, through all the way of basically a lot of 2023 as well, seeping into 2024, I was doing this. I was getting accounts, blowing them up, getting accounts, trying to trade live, blowing that up. Everything was just, my mindset wasn't where it was supposed to be. This cycle, like I said, continued for months. This is just me working at one of the jobs that I used to work at. Like, I remember this day so vividly because on this exact day, I had revenge traded on an account, and I just remember telling myself, like, enough is enough. I cannot do this anymore. The strategy that Doyle taught me, it was a strategy that worked, and I know it worked. I started to lose faith in myself at this point, knowing that this strategy worked. The only thing that I could turn to is God, because if I did not have faith in God during this period of time, I would have given up on trading. I would have said enough is enough, because of the amount that I was losing, the amount of money I was losing, the amount of challenges that I had broken through, and everything like that was so much on my mental that I'm like, bruh, if this is not for me, just like, let me give up on trading. Let me not do this anymore. I was in the depth of unprofitability, and I literally started to not think that I could ever become a profitable trader again. And I know a lot of you guys watching right now can relate to exactly this, because you guys are probably in the same situation right now, and I was there too. I think every single unprofitable trader has been in this situation. Some people, it lasts for years. Some people last for a month and they snap out of it. But for me, this thing lasted for many, many months. This was the turning point of my whole career. I got fed up with myself eventually. I remember it vividly while I was working at Amazon. I blew up my last challenge account on Top Step. I remember sitting at the parking lot while I was on break during this time and saying that enough is enough while holding my phone. It's all this time. So from about 2022 to around dang near 2024 summer, that was just a cycle of continual unprofitability and battling with mindset issues. I locked back in at this point though, and I went back into Doyle's course, and again I watched basically all of his videos on supply and demand with liquidity. This is where everything changed for me. My second biggest aha moment since actually finding supply and demand. At this point though, what I didn't know was that this would actually change everything. I made an absolute declaration to myself that I will never ever revenge trade like I was doing beforehand. I used to revenge trade so badly that in a single day I would take 4, 5, 6 trades, full margin risk on the same account, wanting to make everything back. But anyways, this led to the breakthrough that I am talking about. Every single monetary day, I would track every trade that I took using his strategy. I mainly started focusing on higher time frame supply and demand zones. This was a mistake that in my past I didn't really notice. So with Doyle, he's very, very, very good at looking at the 5-minute time frame for his supply and demand zones. What I had realized for myself based on my personality characteristics, how I look at things, is that I'm better at recognizing these higher time frame zones, picking them out and trading those instead of being on the 5-minute time frame. Just for me personally and how I process things. Even more was when I combined this with liquidity, my whole entire trading results changed. I mean, I went from consistently losing, like consistently, like in a whole entire month, I would have one winning day, sometimes at best. The market felt so random. It felt like I was pulling a slot machine lever at a certain point. But once I watched this video as well, How to Spot Liquidity by Doyle Exchange, when he talked about session-based liquidity, where is liquidity at, that unlocked the switch inside of my head as well to combine it with supply and demand. I realized at this point that I was losing less and less and less. This is when I made this strategy mine. I catered it to myself, like I've been saying. I used a higher time frame. I added in liquidity. I did more things based on what I saw in my own experience. With more and more trading, with more and more tracking, I gained more confidence in myself. This was my next Top Step account that I vowed to myself. One more thing was that I would never buy another prop firm account unless I pass one and keep it. So as you guys can see, this is my same Top Step account that I've had since October. This is when I passed this account inside of October, and I've had this account ever since, making sure not to lose it. I started passing and also keeping funded accounts, and more importantly, I developed a skill that I would have forever. The main reason I even chose Top Step in general is not even because I thought they were the best firm, but because they have, to me, one of the most strictest rules, and I knew if I could master Top Step, I could master myself. Alright, so now we're gonna go over examples of Doyle's supply and demand strategy and how I refined it to myself to make it work. Because I know that a lot of you guys are probably inside of Doyle's Discord. If you're not finding the profitability that you want, these are some of the changes that I did personally that made me start seeing more profitability. So what are Doyle's main rules when he gets inside of a trade? There are three things that I like to say that you have to look out for. First, we want to, of course, see a supply or demand zone with a gap attached to it. After that, we want to pay attention to breaks of structure. So we want to make sure that our supply or demand zone has a break of structure before then coming back to the zone. After coming back to the zone, we want to get in off of the break of candlestick. And lastly, we want to make sure overall that we are going with the higher time frame narrative, or we are just going with the overall trend. Simply like that, we have Doyle Exchange's strategy. Let's look at some examples of this on the charts. So on this day, this would be an example of a demand zone that had broken above structure. We have a lot of structure over there that we had broken above before. Now we are looking for price to come back into the zone. So a big thing that I added into my trades was liquidity. So other than having all of the other things that I had mentioned and the steps that Doyle looks at, what I added to make myself profitable, be consistent, and make it work for me was adding session-based liquidity. So here we have London, we have Asia over here. What I'd like to do is mark off both the highs and lows of London and also Asia. Why? Because under the highs and lows of a particular session, there is liquidity resting at, and we can see it play out day after day, especially on gold. So during 7 o'clock, we see New York session open. We tap into this 15-minute demand with a gap that was right here. Wait for the break of candlestick entry that Doyle likes to preach. I get in on the 15-minute time frame because the 15-minute for me is a little bit slower for my mind to comprehend, and honestly it works for me a little bit better just because it's slower and I could get in a little bit better than the 5, which is a little bit more quicker. So get in right here and then straight to TP. So this is the first example of this supply and demand. This next example is a supply zone. This was on the previous day. I would still count it because this supply zone was on the 4-hour higher time frame and it had a gap as well. So we see here that for me, I like to see session based liquidity getting swept. During London, we swept above Asia. During New York, we swept above London. Right here, we get the break of candlestick. I'd get inside the trade right here. We're still inside of this higher time frame 4-hour zone, and then I would hold for a 1, 2, 3 or higher. That's another thing with how I trade the strategy. Doyle usually goes for 1-for-1s, while me myself, I go for 1-for-3 risk to rewards because I just like them a little bit better. 1-for-3 or higher. So that is it for this video. My final thoughts, and I just wanted to shout out Doyle. Without meeting Doyle on YouTube, I would never ever be the trader that I am today. He showed me what was possible through trading, and now even he's trading at a higher level that I want to get to myself. Rather than making just $300 or $100 a day, now he's having 10K, 6K, 8K days. I see it all on his Instagram. He is one of the most realist traders inside of the space. So I'm going to leave a link down below for you guys to check his page out, and also his Discord room and everything. And also, if you guys want to check out mine as well, it will be down in the link in the description. That is it for this video though. Doyle, if you're watching this, you helped me out a ton to become a very good trader. My journey has been very long, but very short also looking back. And I've developed a skill that I know in the future will pay dividends forever. And I want to say thank you for that. That's it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.